What's up, Twitch chat? Oh, they can hear me. Yep, we look good. We sound good. All right, I'm going to start recording if you all want to start recording. Recording. Cool.
Recording.
Sweet. Let's do that clap thing. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Starting the show in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Greetings, traveler. Greetings, friend.
The pleasure is mine.
Hello and welcome to episode 263 of Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. It is Thursday, October 22nd in the evening. From Gadsden, New York, it's me, Ridiculous Hat. From Garrison, California, we have Box.
Hi.
From Tartarus. No, not Tartarus. Where are you? It's from Undercity? Undercity, Pennsylvania. She's back from Tartarus. It was a nice vacation. It's Edelweiss.
Hey, everyone.
And from where you are, listener, we have you, Concede, supported directly by you, the listener. If you'd like to find out how you can support us and receive rewards in return, head to patreon.com/CoinConcede. You can also support us by leaving an iTunes review, totally free, and really helps other people find the show. Big shout-outs to our newest patrons, Rob A. And Vic, who upgraded their pledge, and then another upgrade here. Proby1 is our newest producer. Thank you, Proby1. Thank you for your support, friend. And, well, Life and Ladder. We've got an action-packed show here. Before we even get into Life and Ladder, if you are here for Dexplanations or Tournament Talk, you're not going to get much today. This is a news show today, because there's going to be 2 hours of news. Get yourself ready. But Life and Ladder, let's talk about it. Edelweiss, what's up?
Yeah, I had been playing mostly Hades still, and alongside a bit of practice for Garrett's Masters Tour coming up this weekend. But all of today, since it came out, I've been playing the new game mode. So,
Yes.
yeah, I'm excited.
The Duels. So much fun. What about you, Bacchus?
Yeah, so I have also basically just been playing Path of Exile, and new game mode came out today. Played a little bit with it. We're going to talk a lot about it. Also got an interesting email, which is Hearthstone adjacent, but it was about my Twitch channel, saying that I was using copyrighted music, and basically got a warning from them. But I haven't streamed in like 3 months, at least, or more. So I'm like, well, that's not going to get me to want to stream again. But I just thought it was kind of funny to get an email like months and months after I've basically completely stopped streaming. That was like, hey, by the way, you're getting a warning for playing copyrighted music. I'm like, okay, well, sure.
Yeah.
I actually don't even have any. I looked at my channel. I don't have any VODs on it. I wonder if they might have removed them, but I'm pretty sure they automatically remove after a period of time. So I just assumed they removed after
It's like 30 days, I think, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, they it's been DMC has been very active on Twitch this week, and it's kind of not great, because a lot of streamers their VODs are just gone, just deleted. And yeah, people were getting emails going back years. I'm surprised that I didn't get any, but so we are.
Well, you started using non-copyrighted music.
Yeah, I did, and then I switched off of it, but a lot of the bands I was listening to were like instrumental Japanese post-rock bands, and for some reason I just didn't get a lot of pushback on that. Yeah. Shout out to Light for being awesome, and Jizu. Very good bands. Won't get you copyright stricken. But anyways, also I haven't been playing as much ladder. I did play some duels. I've tried out some BGs, but not since they fixed Ginny today, which by the way, they fixed Ginny today, so thank goodness.
Your time is up.
Honestly, it was too long, but they took care of it. They did it. Also, still been playing good bit of Hades. I might have started another podcast. I did it. I did the podcast.
I know you were up till like 4 a.m. or something recording it when I was messaging you.
Yes.
And I was like, because I messaged you and I was like, because you didn't respond right away. So I was like, yeah, this is, I'm proud of you for going to sleep on time. And you're like, no, I'm recording a Hades podcast.
Yeah. You were trying to be so wholesome, and it was worse than you could have imagined. It was not that I didn't respond because I was asleep. It's that I didn't respond because I was making more content. I was only up until 3 recording, and then after that I chilled for a little bit.
By chilled for a little bit, do you mean you played some more Hades?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm protected by the Fifth Amendment rights.
Twitch cats can see me, but listeners just know that I'm shaking my head in disappointment right now.
Yeah. And be aware the filters I use automatically shorten silence to half a millisecond, but after I said I started the podcast, envision a really long disapproving pause because it was there in the live recording. But it'll get smoothed out. But it was very disapproving. Just hung in the air? Hung? Lingered. It lingered in the air. Like a cranberry. So anyways, games are great. Having time is difficult. I also worked more this week because the movie theaters in my state are at least legal to open, though not the ones in my city, so I was able to work at a different theater and actually get some stuff done. But when I'm at work where I actually have to do stuff, it's a lot harder to keep up on social media. So, balance a little bit. It's fine. But enough about me. Let's talk about Hearthstone and get ready for a mammoth 2-hour news section. Let's go.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
All right, so got a couple quick things before we get into the meat of the topics today, so we'll just get these out of the way really fast. The nerfs to Evocation and Solarium Prime are now active, so everyone can rejoice that Mage got a little bit worse. Everybody who wasn't playing a lot of Mage, and if you were, I'm sorry, but not really that sorry. And then Ginny, the bug where minions of a higher tavern tier could drop from it, got fixed. So Battlegrounds should be better now. We'll see how things work now that things are working as intended, but that bug is now working as intended. Also, they made some pretty big changes to kind of, I guess, what I would consider you could kind of consider it the higher end of the Battlegrounds queues, but just kind of in general, they changed how group queuing works, and you can no longer group queue above 10k MMR, which is an interesting fix. What it leads me to believe is that they could not fix it in a way to have separate queues for groups and for singles, and so they decided to fix it this way. So I guess it does make the situation a little bit better for the higher rated players, but this wasn't the fix that I was hoping for, at least. I don't know. What do you two think about this as a fix for group queuing?
And it basically just says, hey, we don't want people using this for a hardcore competitive advantage. We want it to be something that people do as a fun thing with their group of friends. I guess it's too complicated or more complicated than they're willing to put resources into to create separate queues for it. It's unfortunate for those that maybe get preyed upon because of it, but I feel like I am at least kind of okay with this. Because the big concern was something like was it EMEA? Something where you've got a qualification and people are force stacking to try and qualify for a thing. But that is solved by basically taking the highest of competitive out of being able to do it. it's kind of a weird fix, but
Yeah, I guess my problem is like if they hadn't reset the MMR and I wanted to group queue with people just to have fun because I don't like care too much about my MMR rating at this point. I just literally couldn't do it because before
yeah,
the
you'd have to
reset
make a Smurf account.
I was above 10k, and so now it's just like, oh well, you don't get to play with other people if you want to, even if you're not like doing if you're doing it the way that they intended, which is just you have some friends you want to queue with and you get to queue, then you can do that. But I mean, I guess you would have to. I guess it means it's specifically for the case of where you only have 4 or less people. Because I'm assuming if you're over 10k, you can queue with 5 or more people. Because then it's your own lobby. So I guess it just means it's a pretty limited pool that this affects. But at the same time, it's just not the fix I was expecting.
Yeah, they added a lot to the client today, and telling people, giving them a way to play and then taking away 30 days later is problematic. This is also a band of players that was actually pretty loudly asking Blizzard to just turn it off. Like, that was being expressly stated. So Blizzard said, okay, we can do that in the meantime. And I think it's for the bracket that is looking to use their MMR as a way to qualify for things or gain visibility or whatever at the high end of the competitive spectrum. They needed to remove quad stacking. It needed to go away. But yeah, it's for players that are good but want to play with friends, and it sucks. But this needed,
like the day that group queuing got announced. If this was in place during that, I just literally wouldn't have been able to play with friends.
So there are definitely downsides to it. They did also do some other changes that they're probably using as a test to see if they work. Unfortunately, they are not currently working as intended. But there are fixes in play where it's if you're in the group, your group's MMR shouldn't matter. It should only be based on the MMR of the other people. And also, if you're paired based on the highest MMR placement in your stack, not the average, because before it was averaging. So if you did like a 10, a 6, a 5, and a 3 or whatever, it used to try and land you between a 5 and 6. Now it matches as though you're a 10k. It finds the highest player. And then your wins and losses will only be based on the MMR of the other people. But that means what was happening today is there's one high-ranked person, and the other 3 were queuing in, and the 3 low people were conceding and immediately gaining 700 or plus points because they were getting paired against people that were way, way higher their MMR. Something about it wasn't working right. So, for now, they turned off group stacking completely. You can't do it. Now, temporary fix. They moved pretty fast. Like, the exploit was really only up for like 90 minutes. It didn't take all that long. They turned it off. But it was clearly not working as intended. And some people were just spam queuing and conceding and gaining like thousands of points.
I was gonna say, like, you could still use this, like, you could still use the system to get up to 10k, right? Like, this is still like somewhat abusable. It's just like you can't use it to get. I think their intent is just that you can't use it to get to the leaderboards or whatever.
Yeah, the system was broken. So they resolved the part that players were exploiting by design, and then today there was an actual thing that didn't work, and so they turned it off. Fine, is what it is. I am looking forward to a better fix in the future, but also probably takes a lot of resources, and they spent those on new expansion, new game mode, another new game mode that's coming in 4 months, and new achievement stuff. They spent the resources on stuff. They're doing things.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather have this fix than no fix. So
Correct.
In the end, I think it's good. And in addition to this, we also got a new Battlegrounds hero, which I think is pretty cool because it's very flavorful. So we have Zephyrus is the new hero. With Zephyrus, you get 3 wishes, and wish means basically your hero power is wish, and you can spend 4 gold, and if you have 2 copies of a card, you get the 3rd one. However, if you have multiple sets of 2, then you don't get to choose. It just gives you one at random. So, pretty cool. I think this is a cool minion. I'm excited to see how people use it. It's brand new, so it's going to take a while, but seems pretty solid.
It's
I,
roll by and
I
always
feel-
hit when you roll by. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah, I mean getting triples, and it feels like you can get it some like feels like going from getting 2 minions does not seem terribly difficult to getting like 3 minions is can be pretty difficult early. So this just like smooths that out and gets you your goldens early. Seems like it could be quite powerful.
I'm just thinking of
Well,
all
and
the
just-
games where I died with 3 pairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly with being able to power spike into so many 5 costs right now. Just guaranteeing that, okay, I took a pair, I know I'm going to be able to hit that 5 cost from leveling to 4. And then, you can have, if you don't care what gets tripled, you could have 2 pairs as like a backup in case you miss on the first one. Just paying 1 extra gold to guarantee triple is pretty good with how strong a lot of the 5s are.
I'm pretty excited to see what it does. But what I'm more excited about is to talk about the announcements today. So I think we should stop dilly-dallying around with all the current stuff and look to future stuff. So we have it split into 3 sections. We're going to have Hat take away the first section we want to talk about, which is the new game mode, which is live today, called Duels. So Hat, why don't you tell us a little bit about what they did here?
So Duels. All right. The short version. It is Dungeon Run PvP. That is the short version. That's what you need to know. There are some other things. First of all, if you want to play this today, you can if you spend money. Got to make sure we're clear. This is early access, just like Battlegrounds last year. If you don't buy the pre-order, this will be available for everyone for free on the 17th. Coincides with the expansion launch. Beta for everybody. There are also Twitch drops for access that are running starting the 28th, I believe. And there are also, I believe, 2 free weekends to access it for everybody. But it won't be permanently open until the 17th. So, this is the new mode, and it's designed to be sustainably supported. Each season of Duels has a theme. The current theme is Wizard Duels. That's like Scholomance. And there was this amazing trailer that I wish I had had the time to pull the sound bites out from because it was hilarious. Reminded me of the old Power Thirst commercials or like a really crappy race car trailer. There were 10 Mr. Bigglesworth's puking rainbows with guitars in the background. It was so good. So there's the Wizard Duels. Apparently the professors of each class are representing the different classes. To quote Brian Kibler, I don't know how Rattlegore can be a professor of anything but yelling, but there are, like, you can play as Professor Slade, you can play as Archwitch Willow, and so on and so forth. And the season is going to be expansion-based, so the sets that are legal, because it does use your collection, will change with each expansion cycle, and when this mode enters open beta in the 17th, it will add both the new set, Madness and the Darkmoon Faire, as well as Whispers of the Old Gods, because this set is very clearly a callback to Whispers. So yeah. And there's more. There are no leaderboards posted, but you will have a rating. There will be a rating, MMR, and it's going to be like Battlegrounds rating. You'll be able to see it. And as of right now, there's no public leaderboards, but it's going to be a mode where you can kind of compete, or at least, you'll have a rating that you can talk about. And this is a mode where collection matters. I was curious to figure out how they're going to manage this. So Dungeon Run, you remember you have a starting deck, right? You start at a low life total and it's 10 or 15 cards. In this case, it's 15 cards, but you use the cards that you own. You can add up to 1 copy of a card from the currently legal sets. As of right now, those sets are Basic and Classic, Naxxramas, Karazhan, and Scholomance. Very interesting combination of cards. You can add up to 1 card from each of these expansion. Some cards are actually banned. You can't use Self-Sharpening Sword right now. It just says banned in the collection, which I think it's cool they can curate to that level. And then the collection also can unlock certain hero powers and treasure. Each professor in Dungeon Run, you can choose which hero power you want, which treasure you want. As of right now, it's just 1. But there are going to be different options for your hero power and different options for the treasure, the special card that starts in your deck. And some of these are unlocked by meeting certain conditions in your collection, by having a certain number of cards or a corresponding legendary, and that'll change both the buckets that you see as well as the hero powers and treasures that you can use. But the cards that are offered throughout the course of the run are not pulled from your collection, so you can get cards that you don't own. Pause here. Thoughts so far? Because we covered a surprising amount of information in the past 30 seconds.
So I had seen on Twitter, because there's always some people that feel this way, but people who thought, oh, making wild cards matter, pay to win format, right? It's not. It's really not. Singleton copies of 15 cards, maybe you'll be a little bit behind some of the, like, your first game, maybe your second game, but so much depends on what treasures you hit and the cards that you add to your deck, which are not limited to those expansions from the deck construction. I think the deck construction sets also matter for the Discover cards, but when you are looking at your pools, you can still get stuff from Knights of the Frozen Throne. It's like they have these sort of archetypes that they offer you cards around that are not limited to the sets that are legal in terms of construction. So when you really get things going, that disadvantage for not having some of the wild cards isn't going to be so bad. It honestly is just maybe that first game. So I had Lotheb in my deck because I was reminded after playing against it that, oh yeah, Lotheb, Nax, of course, great card, want to run that. But there's enough solid cards in Standard, and it really, as you play, adding more and more cards, that initial 15 is not going to be the deal breaker most of the time.
Yeah, and if you're thinking that you need legendaries from the older sets, they didn't make legendaries quite the same way back then. So while Lotheb is a good card, you don't need Morose. You don't need Stalag or Fugan. You don't need, I don't know, Baron Rivendare. You probably don't need, like, maybe you run Baron Rivendare. I dusted my Baron Rivendare. Yeah. A lot of these cards you can get by without. There's some value and variety, and while I think there is...
Didn't I make you recraft Baron Rivendare for that wild
you
Death Rattle
did.
Hunter deck?
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, that was so irresponsible. Anyways,
Got him.
but I think that this has actually a lot of value for more engaged, tenured older players, because I've wanted to play Imp Gang Boss again. And you can't do that in Wild, because a 3-mana 2/4 does not go very far in a format where the only 3-mana 2/4 that's good is Flamewaker because it comes with a Pyroblast. But this format is lower power level, at least in terms of starting deck. Things get pretty goofy with the hero powers and the treasures and the synergies, and don't think that the games when you're 5 or 6 games in are going to be nice and short and low power. They will not be. They will be insane. But
it might be nice and short, but high power.
The cards you start in your deck, it's gonna be like a really good draft deck. And so I think there's a lot of value in the nostalgia for older players of you get to play a really good arena deck that slowly evolves into something super broken.
Yeah.
So I will say there's one thing here. Well, there's a few things, but the one thing here that stood out to me is that there's no leaderboard that will be posted, but you will have an MMR. Kind of disappointed at that, because I don't really know I understand what the point of an MMR system is, but for me, when Battlegrounds had the leaderboard, I really wanted to get on it. I was way more incentivized. I felt more incentivized. Like that was my incentive to play and get better and do well, is that there was a leaderboard that I could literally go to a website and see my name on it. And that was really cool when I did that. And the fact that this doesn't have one is disappointing to me. And also the fact that casual what is it? Is that what they call the mode right now? What
Yeah.
do they call the?
Yeah,
I believe it is casual and heroic are the two options.
So I don't know if they're gonna get rid of it. I don't think it doesn't seem like they would, but I don't know why casual has an MMR on it. I'm happy that it's there now because that's the only mode we can play, but I don't know that I'd want to see my casual MMR if I'm just playing this as a casual format and not really trying too difficult, or like not trying, like if I'm trying goofy stuff, I don't know that I want to see that I have a lower MMR. Or
Yeah,
my
it's kind of
MMR 's
weird
not very
because like
high.
it's if it's supposed to be ranked versus unranked, why does unranked show you a rank?
Yeah,
It's supposed to be free versus not free. That's what
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really supposed to be.
but the
right?
free mode
Casual
shouldn't
just means
have
free.
the free mode shouldn't have an MMR shown. I mean, it can have it there, just like I like
If they
how
get enough negative feedback, I feel like they'll change it. But
Yeah, I mean, I like how standard has that, where you can literally go into casual and not track your win rate and not know that you're doing it really poorly because you're playing a meme deck in casual mode. Like I've done that before as what I would consider myself to be a pretty competitive player. I go to casual mode every once in a while just to mess around and not worry about stuff. And now they're going to forcibly show me a rating for a mode where I'm not potentially not trying very hard. And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm just looking at it in a sense that like that is something that could get me to not click the button
Hmm.
to play. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it's definitely something that stood out right away to me, because I really wanted to see my MMR when I started playing, and I didn't think I was going to, because I was going to be play because casual mode is the only option to play. But then they showed me, and then I was like, well, what happens when ranked comes out? And I want to see my ranked. I definitely want to see my ranked MMR, but I don't know that I don't really want to see my casual MMR. So that'll be interesting.
my guess is that they didn't want to not show MMR to people that were strictly going to do it free to play and not not touch the heroic version. But I think definitely, like, if you're feeling that way, and anyone else who is feeling that way, I think you should submit some kind of feedback report to them, because I think they want to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna like ignore it and not care too much because it's what the mode is there for. But also, I have to imagine that it's weird that it's there at all. Like just block it. Just make it not a thing.
Or
Yeah.
make it like even have an option where you could not show it. Like, because I'm sure some people will want to
Yeah,
only play
actually,
the
that would
free
be
mode.
interesting. Just say hide MMR or whatever.
Yeah, but if they're not going to give me an auto squelch, I don't think they're going to give me
Yeah.
hide MMR if I choose.
But yeah,
And like I might not even hide it, even if that was an option. But having the option, I think, is worthwhile.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought of it, but I do think that's relevant. I think, and I agree with what you said earlier, Edelweiss, about to pivot a little bit. The collection concerns I think are probably a little overblown. I do think that there is a relevant concern that paywalled early access kind of sucks. I think it kind of sucks. Like it doesn't personally impact me because I am the whaliest of whales when it comes to Hearthstone. But I think that you don't see the pop-up to buy packs until you press play. It's kind of deep in the mode.
Yeah, that I think bothered me more than the actual fact that you have to do the pre-purchase first.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, it's
Letting
not in
you
the
go
modes
through
button,
all the
it's in the play
steps
button.
As though you can do it, and then you hit the wall. I think that that feels bad and is very strategic. If not for that, I think just as conceptually, I think it's totally justified to put it behind that kind of wall. Like, it is a thing that is going to be free and people can get a lot of play out of it, and I don't see any issue of, like, it's coming rather soon, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like
it's
3
coming in
weeks.
3 weeks. I found out about this from Enthrallment because I, of course, again, immediately wailed out and bought the pre-order. But the higher price pre-order is the one that pops up as soon as you press the play button, and you don't see any
Is
information.
it? No. I got the cheaper one.
Oh, you got the
in,
cheaper one.
in Canada.
Oh, in Canada.
Canada
Okay.
is what Enthrallment said. Is in Canada only the $99 pre-purchase pops up. For me, the $40 or whatever
Oh.
that one popped up for
That's
me.
weird. Might just be a bug.
And then
I
I
got
went
the-
back and
I got
went
the
back
bigger
and got the
pre-order,
big one.
obviously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I was gonna, but like, all three of us were gonna get that one pretty much anyway. So like, it's one of those things. Like, it did feel, I did have that feeling as soon as I saw it. I was like, ew, that's
Yeah.
it's a weird place to put it.
Yeah.
It's not weird when you think about why they did it, and
Well,
and
no, but it's
I don't have a problem. I don't personally have a problem with letting people have early access who want to spend money on the game to have the early access.
Yeah.
I do have a problem when they're like, oh, all it takes one more step, and it gets you to be able
Yeah.
to play this
being
brand new
that
game
deep in the
mode.
menu. It doesn't need to be that deep in the menu. It can easily just, they could have put it on the modes button where it says early access in purple, but it doesn't stop you there. I think that moving it earlier in the screen would make more sense, just because it's okay if there are some things that
It
you have
should
to
say
pay
right as you
for.
click it.
But yeah,
As soon as you click the
don't do the
mode,
bait
it
and
should
switch.
say,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. This is a dark pattern. It's not like the worst version of that phrase. If for those who aren't familiar, a dark pattern is like something that's kind of like really sinister to influence your behavior in a particular way, typically revolving around stuff on the internet. I think the best other example is how TurboTax technically has a free file that they made in with the U.S. government that is and legally, like, they were
Difficult
supposed to
to
make
get
a
to.
site that you could totally file free from, but they also buried it in all kinds of search engine stuff so it would never show up, and made their own TurboTax free or whatever. That's the very similarly named, that in fact has a minimal number of stuff that's actually free to file with.
Somebody listened to the
This
Reply
isn't-
All episode.
This isn't that bad, but it's along the same lines in terms of being a dark pattern, and I was really disappointed to see that when you could just put it at the beginning and so people know up front, and that's just way more courteous.
I think ultimately this is going to be a mode that's free forever in 3 weeks. It's early access by paying for something. I get why they do it. Part of it is absolutely to drive pre-orders, especially for more tenured players that might be considering not doing that. Also, this mode is very much in beta. Like the early access, they're gonna find some bugs because it's been played by probably 20 people so far before today, and as of today, it's probably been played by over 100,000, if not more. You're going to get a different kind of experience. You want to limit that user count up front in case something breaks, and the more entrenched users are more likely to give you feedback one way or another. I get that as well. But also, if you see other people playing it and you don't want to or can't buy the pre-order right now, feels not great, and especially because if you think that you can play it and then you go in and you get the wall right when you press the blue play button, I think there's opportunity for that to be a little bit better. But I understand the idea of early access for a new game mode, and I'm glad that it will be free forever going forward once it releases. So yeah,
Agreed.
we should also talk about, we've all played some of this today. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's pretty fun. I like it. And that's on a scale, I guess. Yeah. So, I have enjoyed what I've played so far. I've only done one run. I picked the worst hero because I wanted to see if I could make discard warlock work. I would recommend against trying to make discard warlock work in my very limited sample size of 6 games. 3 of those were wins because my opponents did nothing after I had lost my first 2. And then I got 3 wins in the O2 bracket, and then I lost one. So I watched Botticus and Edelweiss both play warrior. Rogue seemed awesome. I heard that Druid is apparently very good. And yeah, the mode is exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking to chill. Battlegrounds is more APM heavy than I expected to be, especially lately. And Constructed, we've been dialed into our own ranks on this show for years and years and years. This is a tavern brawl that you want to play when you want to not care too much about your playability, except it's always in the game and it's way better. Like you get to make these goofy synergies, but it's a little bit more predictable, and there's some strategy to it, and you can pay attention to it if you want to, but also you can just play whatever you want in the casual mode, even if it tanks your casual MMR. That's going to be a meme. Oh, I can feel that meme coming. That's going to be a meme. But even if you tank your casual MMR, you can just play discard warlock like I did. What about you two? What do you think of it so far? Botticus, give me your first impressions.
Casual MMR is such a weird statement. It's
Right.
just such a weird,
exists, right?
Weird thing that exists. I don't know. So I missed the start of the stream, which was mostly my fault. Looking because I looked at the show notes and I thought it said 9 a.m. PDT, and it was earlier than that. So missed some of the stuff at the beginning and kind of came in for almost right when they were announcing the new game mode, and I hadn't looked at any spoilers. I was really trying to get hyped up about this because, as everybody knows, I've been kind of taking a bit of a break or so from Hearthstone, and I don't know. So it got announced, and then I started watching Crip and Kibler play a run, and maybe it's just me, but I turned it off, and that's the first time I've ever turned off a reveal stream. I don't know that it really showcased the mode in a very good light. Not that they're both of them are great content creators, but it's hard to tell how much my kind of apathy right now is coloring my view of the game mode versus how much I'm just not as excited to play a game mode that is essentially still just more Hearthstone. Because when Battlegrounds came out, I didn't get to watch anybody play it. I literally just walked over to a computer and started playing it, and it was unlike anything I had ever experienced because I had never played Auto Battler. And so it was Hearthstone, but with all these cool new things. And then this is, largely we've experienced a portion of this before in Dungeon Run, and while I think the mode is cool, it's not. And I don't want to say I expected another Battlegrounds, but it's more Hearthstone. And when I hear new game mode, I don't know that I was expecting more Hearthstone. Because Battlegrounds wasn't. Battlegrounds was something completely else. Something completely different. And so I don't know. I was not as excited about this game mode, and I played a little bit of it. I think it's fun, but it's not on the level that Battlegrounds was for me. And I don't know how much of that was BlizzCon, how much of that was I was in a different state of mind at that time, how much of that is that maybe the game mode is just not all that different from other stuff, and it's definitely got a lot of things going on for it. But I don't know. That was just kind of my first impressions, and I'm not upset I'm just like I was a little disappointed, I guess.
You're not mad. You're just disappointed.
Yeah, and people say that
Momicus.
it feels weird, but it's just like I don't know. I just wanted I wanted to be excited again, and maybe it was just like the reveal stream, and I don't know. We haven't really talked about it, but it didn't feel the same, and you know,
Of course, it
a
didn't
lot of
feel the
that to do
same.
a lot of that has to do with the way the world is right now. But even like just the editing to, I noticed things in the editing of how, like the editing of the reveals, like the way that they edited the video was it felt choppy. It didn't feel like a well produced thing to me.
Oh, really?
But you
Yeah,
mean like the video with John McIntyre? The expansion
uh,
reveal, or you mean with Crip and Kibler?
like all of the stuff after that, like the Frodan interview, the cuts to Kibler, the
Yeah, it was.
the gameplay with Kibler and Crip. It didn't feel polished.
Well, it's not. That's not lack of polish. That's lack of footage. It's they can't get the people in the room together. It's
Right.
Yeah.
like I get the vibe that you're. BlizzCon was unbelievable last year. BlizzCon was unbelievable, and I am so incredibly upset that we are 2 weeks out from BlizzCon. Except there's no BlizzCon. Cannot begin to express the disappointment. I know everybody that was there last year feels the same way. I know everybody that wishes they were there last year feels the same way. It's heartbreaking. And this would have been the BlizzCon thing. We would have done the duels on the floor, and it would have been like, look at this deck that I'm building right here. Oh, look at this treasure. Oh, this is crazy. Oh, I got robes of godliness. Oh, I can't believe it. Ah. And then you'd go out and you talk about your cool duel decks and you play it on your phone when you're out there. But instead, we get chopped together videos with green screens, and we get Kibler by himself in a studio, and then we get to watch a Crip stream in the middle of the day. And I'll admit, I mentally alt-tabbed over to Discord and physically alt-tabbed when that was happening because, like, I put on Crip at night when I fall asleep. And I like his highlight videos. I watch his YouTube videos, but I put it on, I put in the sleep timer, and I usually make it through one BG, and then by the time the next one starts, I'm out. Can't do that in the middle of the day. I don't know. Otherwise,
Yeah, but even
Oh,
like
okay.
the conversation, I don't know. Like when I was listening to it, the conversation felt choppy. It just when Frodan was talking about the achievements and all of that, it didn't feel like it was. It felt like an edited video instead of an interview about achievements, and maybe that's me overanalyzing things, but it felt it. I don't know. It just it. I'm comparing it to something that couldn't happen. So like, you know,
Yeah, I guess.
part of it is the state of the world, and that sucks. But it doesn't mean that all of a sudden it doesn't mean that if I should feel good about it. It's just like I don't know. Yeah, it does.
I
Someone
totally
in the chat
expected
says it felt
that.
scripted. It felt very scripted and it felt very robotic. It
I mean, they're
didn't.
always scripted, though.
I mean, there
I mean,
are cue
it's always
cards.
scripted,
Yeah, it can feel a little
but
bit
it
more
doesn't
organic
always
when they're
feel
talking with the
scripted.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was. I
think
think. Go ahead, Elias.
Yeah, I think if it feels that way, it's just because of the times we're in, and like, yeah, it felt like an edited video because it's an edited video, um, because there is more of that just has to take place with everyone being at their own respective homes and only Kibler on site. It's kind of funny to me to hear you talking about it this way and other people in the chat. Because for me, I was like, oh, wow, they did a really great job of making this work during COVID. Like,
And you both can be right. That's the
yeah,
thing.
exactly. And in terms of the mode itself, I was expecting when they had said that your collection will matter, I was expecting the mode to be modern. For those who are familiar with Magic, or like basically an in-between format, something like between Wild and Standard, where you would have a certain number of sets legal, like either something in between or something that rotated, where it was just like it would have sets from Wild and sets from Standard, but not all of it. That's what I thought the new game mode was going to be. And this is really cool, and I'm really excited for it. It's nice to have something. It kind of even more kills Arena, I feel like, which is unfortunate, because once the competitive version comes out, you can get rewards the same way for that as you could with Arena. But I have no expectations for reinventing the wheel with every game mode. Like Battlegrounds, I think, was an anomaly game mode wise, and maybe that's unfortunate for them because they set the bar so high for new game modes that people are going to expect new game after new game. For me, a new game mode is just that, like a different take on Hearthstone. Battlegrounds, in my opinion, at a certain point shouldn't even be in the Hearthstone client because it's not Hearthstone. It is like it doesn't pull the same elements from the game. So like it being a new game mode in the Hearthstone client like kind of makes sense because it uses the, I don't know, a base of Hearthstone stuff. But more and more, the cards aren't even Hearthstone cards at this point. And it plays so completely different. Your tutorial to get into Hearthstone isn't going to help you at all with how to play Battlegrounds. So I would expect future game modes to be much more like this or other ways of playing the game of Hearthstone rather than straight up new games like Battlegrounds.
Well, and we'll find out pretty quick because this has been confirmed as of today in Phase 3 of this rotation year, which means by the time that the rotation expansion comes out, there will be another new game mode. That they're going to do another one by probably end of March, which is insane. And I think I land somewhere around the idea, like I agree with the idea that Battlegrounds, crazy. That was lightning in a bottle. They're not going to find that maybe ever again with a kind of initial announcement. There will be some point where they do something similarly big, but Battlegrounds was something else. It was not just an auto battler in Hearthstone, it was also the most accessible auto battler in the genre, and the only one that was going to have a relevant mobile client and a game length under 30 minutes in the entire brand new super hot genre. It was perfectly timed, perfectly placed, playable on the floor, captured the excitement of the best Blizzcon that I can think of and one of the best in a long, long time. It was pretty incredible. They're not going to hit that. At the same time, when you do something that's less exciting than the last thing you did, people are going to be like, that's going to happen. Not everybody, but this is a solo content mode that they did for a while and it was good. Dalaran Heist was good, Tombs was good, we talked about it on the show, it was really enjoyable. Some of them were misses, cough, cough, rumble, run, cough, cough. But then they did it 5 out of 6 times and then they chilled on solo content for a little bit because they didn't want to do another dungeon run. So I like the PvP aspect a lot. I think it's fun. I actually played a Dalaran Heist a couple days ago just to get my golden transfer students, and I finished the run because it was enjoyable. And I'm glad this is in the game. But I think that anyone that is a little underwhelmed by this, it makes sense. And I think people that are excited about this, I think that makes sense too. Because the things that you both described, the real thing going on in Hearthstone right now is the increasing fragmentation of the player base. And that is something that the devs are really going to have to figure out how to address. Because there are now people that are going to be in the client doing a bunch of different things. And when you give a toy to one of those groups, the other ones are going to say, where's my toy? And so that becomes a balancing act, a very delicate balancing act. Because, like, why can't BGs be in the client? It is a different game. But it uses Hearthstone cards. Even if they're made for this game, it's still Hearthstone. But it's a different game. Fundamentally different. And so when you do something for BGs, constructed players are like, oh, they never changed anything for constructed. When you change things for constructed, oh, BG's still broken, it's still laggy, and they're still gentle Ginny, and what's going on? Why can't the engineers come over here? it becomes this very strange tug of war, because the more things they add to the format, there's more to do, but the players identify it's almost like console wars growing up, that when you get something good on the PlayStation, all the Xbox players are like, PlayStation is stupid. And it just becomes this thing where you have a bunch of different people that play the same game, or at least use the same client, almost pitted against each other in which thing they like more or less. It's fascinating. Yeah.
And I really do hope. I don't want to take away anybody's enjoyment or like excitement about the new mode, because I do think it's a cool new mode, and I think that there's definitely things going on for it. And playing a little bit of it made me feel a lot better about it, which also gives me thoughts about how they promote stuff like this, because I turned off the Kibler Crip stream of this mode because it was not terribly exciting.
It was
but then I got
boring.
to play, and it killed a bit of my excitement for the mode. Whereas if, like with Battlegrounds, I literally just I watched them announce it and then I went and I played it, and that was super exciting. And just like how they do with all these reveal streams where they let popular streamers play decks before you get to touch the cards, and people complain about it all the time. And I want them to support streamers, but I mean, it's so much more exciting when you get to do it right away, when you get to play right away, and you get to be the one that experiences stuff firsthand. And I guess you could try to like avoid all that, and not everybody gets to like take a day off work the day an expansion releases or whatever, or something new comes out. But I don't know, just I feel like some of that gets taken away when you see something happen before you're able to experience it yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're excited about the mode, be excited about the mode. It's definitely cool. There's a lot of potential with it. There's a whole bunch of stuff they can do, and we only have like this little tiny piece of everything that's going to be included in this mode and what they can do with it right now. So we'll have to see what happens in the future. But yeah, I was just trying to. These were literally just my impressions of the first day, because I wanted to give honest reactions to how I felt about
Your feelings
the
are
reveal stream
valid.
today.
That's the thing, is that
Absolutely.
people are all over the map here, because people are all over the map about life and also Hearthstone, and there are so many different ways to play. But back when we all played the same modes, like it was when the thing to do in the client was standard, except for a tiny wild player base with the format that wasn't being curated, and arena was arena. There was a lot more cohesion. And now I remember noticing when I was streaming that if I switched from either BGs to standard or standard to BGs, I would just lose 20 people. Like, they would just vanish, because it's almost this weird faction thing in how you enjoy Hearthstone, is that there are multiple games inside the game. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes people will watch something they want to see, and sometimes people won't. But it's interesting that now that the Hearthstone team, I don't think, has given us too much to do, but they're making people make choices about their time, and so people naturally feel a sense of allegiance towards the mode that they play more. And adding another thing, people have to evaluate, is this worth investing time into? Do I identify with this mode? Does it compare to other modes? And it's interesting to see it's a new problem that Hearthstone hasn't had to deal with, I think, ever. And I love that this is the problem we have, but it at least deserves some level of acknowledgement that when you fragment the player base, it's very hard to ever feel like you're making everybody happy. And also, when you only make one group of people happy and the rest of them are really negative, that makes social media look a lot worse.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Humans are interesting people. And again, I should also clarify, Battlegrounds at BlizzCon was a transcendent experience. Like, me and Bodigas stood up, looked at each other, did not get lunch. We were both starving. Went straight to the computers, waited in line for 30 minutes, went to a diner, had some bomb-ass burgers and chili, and recorded a podcast about the mode because we couldn't play it right then. Drove back, played it some more. It was something else. I think that nothing could have possibly come close, but not coming close is also a relevant thing to observe. So, 54 minutes in. That's 1/3 of the news. So, November 17th, Heroic Mode's coming. That's the ranked mode that actually... They both have ranking, but this is the ranking that matters. Your existing arena tickets will work on it, by the way. They become tavern tickets. It's 150 gold to enter, or an arena ticket, or $2 US. There are rewards identical to arena, so you actually win stuff. So you can compete and get some stuff. And so if you're good, even if you're free to play, you should be able to grind out some stuff. And I love this mode is free to play, but also you can go infinite if you want to invest a little bit. It pays out. And Schwal is going to dominate this mode. He's already very excited about it. Arena Sensei, go check it out. When Heroic Mode unlocks, which is also November 17th, there will be more hero powers available, more treasures. You can unlock more with the collection. And yeah, it's a cool new thing. That's not the only cool new thing. Yo, Edelweiss, tell us about the new set.
Is it time?
It's time.
Okay.
It's time for part 2 of 3 of the news.
So we have a new expansion going with all this, harkening back to Whispers of the Old Gods. We have Madness at the Darkmoon Faire. And for those who do not recall, the Old Gods were Cthulhu, N'Zoth, Yasharaj, and Yogg-Saron. Right. Yes. Yogg-Saron is the one that you have heard about more recently because of Puzzlebox. But yeah, just quick blurb. We have, while the denizens of Azeroth may expect an outing filled with family-friendly fun at the fairgrounds, they'll instead find a creepy carnival corrupted by rigged games of chance, deep-fried foods of mysterious origin, and the tentacled grips of unspeakable horrors.
Ooh.
If you have not seen it, absolutely, I recommend going back and watching the announcement trailer for this. We have the links in the show notes. Really well done. We got some familiar faces back in Dave Kosak, and I was not actually familiar with seeing him in any content, but McIntyre.
John McIntyre,
McIntyre.
He's a tenured game developer. His voice sounded familiar, but I didn't recognize him. He's really funny, and apparently Deck Tech and Blister Guy bullied him in coming back to Twitter to talk about the set. So shout outs to Deck Tech and Blister Guy. Thanks for that. And yeah, it was a very entertaining video, and he kept just popping up and saying at the Darkmoon Faire, and it was funny.
Yes, definitely recommend going and checking that out. But I think since they revealed these 4 and they're going to be the iconic part of the set, just like in Whispers of the Old Gods, I think we should take some time to go over these 4 old gods. So the first is Cthulhu, and Cthulhu has an ability where he breaks up into pieces, and you have to play each of the pieces in order to summon it. It's kind of a very Exodia vibe. You have the Eye. All of them are 5-mana spells that shuffle into your deck at the start of the game. The Eye deals 7 damage randomly split among enemies. The Heart deals 3 damage to all minions. The Body summons a 6/6 taunt. And the Maw is basically just assassinate, destroy a minion. Once you cast them all, you get Cthulhu shuffled into your deck. You still have to find it from your deck and play it. And then when you play it, it just has Battle Cry, deal 30 damage randomly split among all enemies.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, if you can either get some damage in early or just make sure they have a clear board, you're probably gonna kill them. So that's a fun, like, kind of 1-card combo-ish sort of deck. I don't know. Someone from the Discord did have a fun thought, which was you could put this in a spell mage, and each of the pieces is a spell. so it wouldn't mess up your stuff until you actually shuffled in the Cthulhu. Interesting thought. Not sure if it would be worth doing or not, but a few of them are powerful spells. I would say the
The
most
6/6 taunt is good.
the 6/6 taunt is good, and the 3 damage to all minions is at cost, right?
It's a Hellfire that doesn't go face for 1 more mana.
No, it's a we had in Priest this board clear. Where it
Excavated Evil.
shuffles into their deck. Excavated Evil. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it's kind of sort of like that. It's fine. It's a neutral spell, which I guess we can do neutral spells now. Yeah, this reminds me of Rin a lot. Very similar to Rin for those that weren't playing back in Kobolds. You had to play a minion that died, and then you played a 5-mana spell 3 times to make slightly larger demons, and then you won the game when you played the 10-drop that it summoned at the end. This feels very similar to that, except it's a neutral, and it's slow. And when you assemble the pieces, when you play all 4 of the spells, you don't put it in your hand. You put the reassembled Cthulhu in the deck, so you have to draw it.
Yeah. So it's very slow. Probably not going to be worth doing, but maybe there'll be some control decks that just have if they want this as their 1 card finisher, and I don't know, could be interesting in that sense. Next, so I'm going to leave. Well, we can just talk about it now. Yogg-Saron.
Do you want to open the box?
Yeah, we're going to open the box. I'm sure everyone's familiar at this point with Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron and the havoc it has wreaked on competitive and casual. Like, it hit a point where it was sort of, you included it in your deck not because you wanted to, but because it just won games a lot of the time, with the spell pool being as good as it was. We have a new Yogg, which has a requirement that over the course of the game, you have to have played 10 spells. It doesn't have to be in your hand, I don't believe.
No.
And if you have met that requirement of having played 10 spells over the course of the game, then you spin a wheel as a battle cry from Yogg. And it has 6 options, 5 of which have a 19% chance. And you're pretty likely to clear the board. The effects are either destroy all other minions, Yogg gains their stats, fill the board with random minions but yours have rush, gain control of 3 enemy minions, or fill your hand with 0 mana spells this turn only. And then the last one is just cast a spell for each spell you've cast this game, which, the Yogg that we're familiar with.
So you say familiar with. That was 4 years ago. So we should clarify.
That was 4 years ago.
What did original Yogg do, and why was it insane?
So yeah, original Yogg was this last effect, cast a spell for each spell you've cast this game. And it was insane because you had a druid deck, and some other things, mostly a druid deck, that would play a ton of ramp, ton of spells, just cycle through, and you would get up to maybe a 20 spell count, and you would play Yogg-Saron and probably kill your opponent somehow, or make a massive board, clear their board. It was sort of pretty likely to be favorable for you. And at the time, if Yogg-Saron died, it kept casting the spells. And the way that they nerfed it so that it was not competitive anymore was that when Yogg-Saron died, it stopped casting. Since it often cleared the board, that was sort of a good enough fix at the moment. I believe they have unnerfed it in Wild at this point.
Yes, they reverted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was relatively recently.
I don't know whether this would work the way unnerfed Yogg did in terms of this last cast a spell for each spell you've cast this game or not. But all of these options are pretty likely to clear the board or reset the board somehow in your favor. If your opponent's board is full and you fill the board with random minions but yours have rush, you have a full board of minions with rush. So decent odds you clear their board. You gain control of 3 enemy minions. That's pretty solid as well.
You do fill their board when you do the fill the board thing with the rush. It fills both boards.
Yes, but if their board is already full, it doesn't matter.
Oh, sure.
And also, you get to pick the trades. So, yeah, I mean, not all of them are going to be perfect every time, because Yogg, but each of these, at least face value, just taking a look at this, I feel like have decent odds to clear the board. Probably fill your hand with 0 mana spells this turn only. That one, you kind of have the requirement of you need a pretty empty hand. But in some ways, it could be even more powerful than the cast a spell for each spell you've cast this game, because you get to pick what you want to play or not play, and the order that you play them. So you can make sure that you Twisting Nether before you fill your board with 2/2 treants or something like that.
This card seems really good.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Really,
there's a
really
5%
good.
here.
Not excited about that.
You know, it would be a thing with just each of these at 20%, but they've added a 5%. You may have caught that 19 times 5 leaves another 5%. There's 5% chance that this will cast Rod of Roasting, which some of you may recall from the dungeon run. Cast Pyroblast until a player dies. So if it is accurate that each of these things is good enough as a board clear that you are going to play this a lot of the time in decks that run, enough spells for it to be worth it, you're still going to have a 5% chance that you just kill your opponent or kill yourself. And that is not something that we want to see on stream in competitive. Remains to be seen, I suppose, but definitely people are not super happy about that outcome.
Well, it depends who you ask. Because,
yeah.
This card is... There are going to be complicated feelings about this. We should be pretty clear. I think that of the things that we saw today, I don't know how you all are feeling. I'm pretty excited about this set, minus this card's existence in competitive formats. I think the set looks cool. I'm excited about the new game mode, even though there are some ups and downs to it. Excited about the upcoming achievement stuff. A lot of the things that we're going to talk about today, assuming good execution and good follow-up, they're all good for the game of Hearthstone. This card, if I were a competitive player, I would get a very clear message from the printing of this card that they're just not prioritizing tournament play when they design. And I don't think that's a mistake. This is not a judgment saying that the team should be doing that, but it isn't. I'm not saying that. I want to be sure I'm clear. They nerfed Solarian Prime today and revealed Yogg the same day. By the way, one of the effects on Yogg is an evocation of 0 mana spells. They nerfed evocation today, and then showed us a new evocation where all the spells are free. They printed original Yogg, and they nerfed it for competitive reasons. They printed Yogg's Puzzle Box. They nerfed Dragoncaster because it was coming down too fast. They printed Solarian Prime. They nerfed it because it was Solarian Prime. They printed this effect 3 times. They've nerfed this effect 3 times. The day they nerfed the 3rd one, they revealed the 4th one. So, this is something that a large portion of the player base clearly wants. That's cool. Again, I'm not saying the devs are making a mistake. I'm saying they're sending a message about what their priorities are. And that should be pretty clear that nothing was announced for esports, and they didn't say they were going to announce anything for esports. It's not a violated expectation. But they didn't say anything. And the day that they nerf a card for this kind of thing, they print a new one. It's hard to look at this as a competitive player and say they have me in mind right now. But this card looks cool. I think it's probably a little bit too good. A little bit. Because for those of you that weren't playing with original Yogg, this is better than you think, I promise. I promise it's better than you think. And they printed Nature Studies and Lightning Bloom. So get ready for
Mhm.
that. Because this is not going to wait till turn 10 to come down. And I don't like the memes about Hearthstone RNG. I think Hearthstone's a very skill-intensive game. I think even Cyclone Mage is a very skill-intensive deck. The Rod of Roasting is a literal coin flip.
It's not exactly a coin flip.
It's a lot of coin flips, but
It's-
it's still a coin
I
flip.
mean,
If your
you
life
have
total is
more
higher,
life
yeah.
is higher, it's not a coin flip. If either in increments of 10,
But
it's not a
But-
coin flip.
But it's
You
not
follow
like
the
you
analogy.
picked Rod of Roasting. It's
Yeah.
not like you picked Rod of Roasting and
Right.
strategically you have more life, so it's okay. It's just that's what you got.
I don't want to say it's good. I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
not a
If you
coin
could pick
flip.
it, you would just blur and play this and win the game.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can't pick it. It's
Yes.
and again, this card is fun. It's cool. It'll be played on ladder. Players will enjoy it. Just you're listening to this podcast because we make the competitive scene more accessible. This card is everything the competitive scene does not want. They nerfed another card today because of the impact on competitive for being a less variant version of this card. And then they revealed this today. If you're a competitive player and you're frantically playtesting in the 12 hours before Master Tour Madrid because Solarian Prime got nerfed, and then you see this card, I cannot imagine what that mindset is like. But it's hard to say that someone that is focused on competing at the highest level of the game is investing their time wisely in Hearthstone as of right now. But I'm looking forward to playing it. I really want to play with it. I want to play with all of these cards because I think this set looks sweet.
And I honestly, I know it may not seem this way, but I do love this card. I think all the effects are cool. The Rod of Roasting bit is going to be funny. I just think that esports should take a leap, make a decision, and just say, hey, this card is banned in competitive play. It would be very easy. Maybe a small percentage of people would be upset, but I think a much larger percentage would be like, cool. I feel better about that. If I were running a minor for Nerd Street Gamers, I would ban this card. I would just do that as a tournament organizer. And I think that, if you're tied to Blizzard, maybe you won't have the power to do that. I feel like I totally recommend. I know Latin America does a lot of independent tournaments. Totally recommend their organizers ban this card. I recommend anyone organizing tournaments for Hearthstone to ban this card. Because it just doesn't have a healthy effect on competitive.
Yeah, it's really just...
I disagree with
Oh.
both of you. I don't like this card.
Oh, you just don't like it, period.
Just don't like it at all.
No,
I know,
this,
that's totally
this
reasonable.
This card reminds me of when we were talking about Puzzle Box, except I was hopeful that Puzzle Box wouldn't see play, and I'm less hopeful about this one. We'll say that. I think it's as we've been really focused on trying not to be like negative about this, and I don't want to be. I think that if this is your type of card, have fun with it. But yeah, this card seems a lot more playable than a card like than I would like a card like this to be. So, I mean, at the same time though, 10 spells is not
It's not nothing.
a small
nothing.
amount. It's not like Hat was saying. It might not come down on turn 10 for Druid. You might have to wait till turn 10 for Druid. Maybe. Getting 10 spells in before you get here. I would say if you're ramping to 10, you're probably not playing 10 spells before you get to 10 mana if the spells you're playing are ramping you. But yeah, I don't know. Well, it's going to be interesting to get a feel for how long it takes to play 10 spells. That's what'll be interesting. And who knows? Maybe that's a limiting factor that they could change. And having this come down way later is maybe not as bad. But yeah, it's a scary looking card. So we'll see what ends up happening. We also all thought that Voracious Reader was a scary looking card, and that card doesn't see almost any play. Sees a little bit, but it's not as ubiquitous as I probably would have said it was going to be. So who knows? Maybe we're wrong about it.
I think it's also pretty unfortunate that Druid currently win condition for a lot of things is Ysera, which summons random dragons, and then you just also will add this, which does other random things.
And really, it's even if we're off in the power level, the question is, well, you could ask the question of why do they keep printing this effect, but the answer is because it's not for competitive, and the game, like, this is a fun card. This is a fun card, and the vast majority of the player base is not focused on the Masters Tour scene. So, there are going to be a lot of players that play this card and like it. The original Yogg was extremely popular. Nerfing it was a very hard decision for Blizzard because people loved Yogg. Reddit, of all places, really loved playing Yoggs for 40 spells or whatever. They really, really enjoyed it. And when you think about Reddit being positive about that, it feels like an era ago. But yeah, it'll be fun. The issue, we talked about this before, it's not just randomness, it's when randomness is good. And this is a little bit too aggressively costed because the effects are quite powerful. So, I don't know. I get why they printed this card. I don't think that it's even a mistake. I think it's a statement. And even if they nerf it, this is something that they will design for as part of the game because that's what's popular. And I think it's more important, instead of calling it a mistake or instead of being upset about it, it's about recognizing your personal relationship with Hearthstone, with the idea that effects like this are going to be a part of the game going forward, even beyond this card. They're going to keep printing these. If you don't like it when they print these, make peace with that and either stick with the game and be at peace with it, or move on to something else, because they are not going to stop printing these. It's popular to a lot of people. Just how it is.
Yeah, and I would say, what I want to see is not that the design team never makes stuff like this, because it's a hype card. It's going to be super crazy and fun. But rather that the esports team, which we never really hear from distinctly most of the time, I really would like the esports team to take sort of some kind of stand in terms of keeping things more favorable for competitive. And yeah, personally, I think that would be just ban the card. You can just tell people not to bring a card to tournaments. They don't even need to do anything in the client. They can just say, don't put it in your decks. This is like pretty common in other games. Magic is a little different because they can't do nerfs. They only have bans to lean on.
And Magic has its own ups and downs. They might have finally hit a sweet spot, but they've had their own ups and downs in a much larger way than we have. So I feel pretty grateful that we're not going through what they're going through.
Yes, but I don't think that means we shouldn't, use some of the same tools. I feel
sure. Yes, I agree.
Banning cards is a tool that just isn't really being utilized, except for things that are clearly don't work, like Zale or Zale, the Shadow Cloak, or the card before him,
Whizbang,
right? Since you can't actually tell what class they're playing with those, I think you could just add something like this to the ban list. But I don't want Yogg to take all the time. I'm sure he will have plenty of highlight reels and be in the spotlight for quite a while. I think we can move on to N'Zoth of the Deep, who this one is the old god who is on the pre-purchase bundle. I believe you get a Warlock skin with the new N'Zoth art.
It's awesome. It's so good.
It's pretty sweet. And very, very simple, but very powerful. Old N'Zoth was bring back all your death rattles. New N'Zoth is resurrect a minion of each type.
So weird. This is so
That is
weird.
This card is sweet.
Weird deck building.
I don't think it's good, but
challenge.
it's sweet. I mean, we
I
won't know
think
if
it
it's
could-
good or not
could be
until we know
good.
what minions we're resurrecting. But
I can tell you
I
one of
wanna
them.
resurrect-
I can tell you one of the minions. It's a Murloc. It has Rush.
no, we're not resurrecting Fishy Flyer.
It has Rush. You
Yeah,
resurrect
what
with
happens
Rush.
when you? Yeah, what
It's a
happens
neutral,
if
you can put it in any
resurrect
deck.
The second half. What if you resurrect the
It
second
still
half?
has
You
Rush.
miss out on so much value.
Okay, then hold the
I
second
was-
half
I
for a
was gonna
late
say-
game.
I was gonna say Murgur McGurgle, except that if you've played the Prime, then
Yeah,
you've got a bunch
no,
of other
that's a
Murlocs.
sweet one to resurrect. I'm down with resurrecting Murgur.
I'm saying.
It's
yeah.
bad that it's bad that the first thing I thought of to resurrect was Bluegill Warrior.
It's-
I was like, and then I was like, oh wait, can we resurrect Old Murkai? And then I was like, wait a second, that doesn't work. Old Murkai probably doesn't want to go in this deck that has
Not so much.
yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
Menagerie
I don't
is...
think we're gonna be resurrecting Murlocs too much.
And can we resurrect a Ysera and a Twilight Runner?
You can resurrect a Twilight
Yeah.
Runner.
You could do that. Yeah.
You probably
A-
want a possibly an evasive Draconid or an evasive Worm. Those are nice ones. Those are good ones.
Mhm.
All right. You could bring back a
Bluegill
Totem
Warrior's
Goliath.
2 damage to something.
Yeah. Totem Goliath. You could do a Totem Goliath. You could do a lot worse.
I don't know about that one.
Well,
Totem Goliath has a very good chance of resurrecting a lot of other.
you just have to
totems
hit
as
it
well.
just right. I don't know. There's
That's not one where you can hold the Fishy Flyer hat. You can't hold.
no.
the Fishy
I
Flyer
understand the
token.
card is not as strategically advanced as Fishy Flyer. Few cards are on that level. But so okay, what is this design? This is weird. Like I'm not
weird
saying it's not
sweet.
sweet. I'm not saying it's not. It is. It's super sweet. Are we gonna get Amalgam support? Is Amalgadon gonna become a standard card?
I don't think so. Honestly, I feel like Paladin kind of can dip into the most things here because you've got some interesting dragon options. Like it already kind of can allow for a Murloc dragon thing in a Highlander list. So maybe you just you throw in Escaped Mana Saber. There's a beast,
There is.
right? That'd be a solid one.
There's got to be support in the
kind of-
set for this, right?
Yeah,
like, there's got to be
there's
something we
gotta
haven't
be.
seen yet.
Oh, we gotta resurrect Skyvateer. That's our pirate we're getting back.
Which one's that?
That's the 1/3
The
stealth draw
1/3
card.
with Death Rattle draw card. Yeah.
You're just
Get
bringing
that
back Death
value.
Rattles. You don't have to bring back Death Rattles. It's not like Old Nazoth.
But I mean, I wanna get value.
You want to get value. 2 words. They both start with F. Fishy Flyer. Let's go. Let's go.
I feel like there's a bunch of classes that have like their creature type that they're more able to tap into than other classes.
Yeah.
Some better than others.
I'm really glad Ziliax is not in standard. I'm really glad
Ooh,
Ziliax is not in
I'm
standard.
with you there.
Oh, I'm very glad as well.
Creature has Dragonbane often as their only mech.
It's true.
I mean, you don't get to hero power that turn. but
And
it's a-
King Crush.
You could. Ooh.
Ooh,
Where's
That's
Sidisi?
only
Is that
beast.
Sidisi's music? Where is he?
No, usually Hunter has a couple beasts in that deck, right?
But you
Or you like get an animal companion.
No,
back
if
or
you
something.
Bran, you have to cut Scavenger's Ingenuity, but if you're playing Highlander Hunter with no beast, you just have Bran, then you top it in Azoth. Now, it does make the Polecat plan worse, because you have to kind of go through your 10-drop before you get to your 7-drop.
That is a very different kind of
Yes.
Highlander deck.
Okay, this card is sweet. I'm convinced. And then we have one more Old God, because we
Yes,
haven't talked about the new
indeed.
mechanic yet.
Yep, that's why I saved it for last. Yasharaj, add copies of all the corrupted cards you've played to your hand. They cost 0 this turn. Now you may be asking, what's a corrupted card? Well, corrupt is the new keyword, and it's quite powerful in my opinion. The way it works is corrupted cards will have their regular art and regular effect, but if you play a card with a higher mana cost it will upgrade, much like spellstones would when you played a certain amount of whatever their requirement was. So it's a much simplified version of the whole spellstone thing, in the sense that it's just like one and done. If you have a 3-cost corrupted card and you play a 4-cost card, then it's upgraded. It gets new art when upgraded, and by new art I mean tentacles. So
Everything they said is just it gets new tentacles.
if you weren't around in Old Gods, it's tentacles all over the place. So the 2 examples that, or I guess 3 examples were shown. There was a paladin card, a neutral card, and a shaman card.
I'm gonna put the
all of them
shaman one
felt
up on screen.
pretty strong to me. The shaman one goes from 4 mana 4 damage to 4 mana 4 damage and 2 damage to everything. The 5-drop neutral goes from 5 mana 4/4 rush to 5 mana 8/8
Not everything,
rush.
by the way, just enemy minions.
It
Yes.
consecrates.
Yep.
Or holy novas.
Yeah.
And then
That's way better
The-
than 2 damage to everything and
Yeah,
dealing,
that's actually-
killing your own
that's like-
stuff.
that's like upgraded Starfall, right?
Yeah, it's basically a Starfall.
Yeah.
It's you dome one thing for 6, or you can go face with this. It actually
Yeah,
goes face.
it can go.
Wait, what?
It can go. Yes,
It just says deal 4 damage.
so it can go face, and it's
Oh
basically
my goodness.
post druid quest completion Starfall.
I missed that. I totally missed that.
But also,
And
Corrupt
I
is
know Overlord.
interesting. Yeah, but Corrupt is fascinating because Scholomance was the set of little stuff, of lots of 1s and 2s. This is the set of big stuff. And so, like, the card that we're looking at, Dunk Tank, it's a 4-mana spell that when you upgrade it, it's deal 4 to anything and then also holding over your opponent. But you have to play a 5-drop first. Otherwise, it's 4 mana deal 4 damage, which is not a good deal. Like, it's fine. It's acceptable, I guess, but you probably wouldn't play it in the deck without the Corrupt cost. So it makes your early game cards better if you're holding onto them. Really rewards more controlling playstyles of having something you could do on curve and waiting, and then playing a more expensive card. If you have Dunk Tank in your hand, you want to play the Hagatha scheme first. You scheme, and then your Dunk Tank is really nice for a follow-up turn where you're able to go Dunk Tank and play, I don't know, some good shaman card. So I guess we'll see what else they reveal in this expansion, because I don't have a great example off the top of my head.
Diligent note taker.
Ooh, okay, that's a good
Dunk Tank.
example. Yes.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah, you can do that the next turn. Oh, any chance we get to play more Dilly note takers, I'm all about it.
So my question is, do we know this, if this is the case or not? If you played a corrupted version of a card and then you play Yasharaj later, do you get back the corrupted version, or do you get back
Yes.
a non-corrupted version?
Yeah, so that is kind of part of the text. So it says, add copies of all of the corrupted cards you've played.
So
it
if you
is
look
a
at the
corrupted
text,
card if it got upgraded.
yeah, if you look at the text of the corrupted cards of the corrupted version, it
Oh.
actually says corrupted in bold. Like it actually just
Mhm.
says it. It's a keyword that's on the upgraded version of the card. It says corrupted, which means there are going to be decks that are corrupted matters, right? That they care about the text. So the base versions, they say corrupt : but then the upgraded versions say corrupted on them, so you can look back at them and get the upgraded version. It's a different card. It transforms. So I think with Diligent Note Taker, actually, in that example, I think you get back the corrupted version because that's that card. You don't get back a base version.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
agreed.
pretty cool.
I think it's really
But then-
cool. Yeah.
Similarly, if you're forced to play a corrupted card on curve, Yasharaj would not give you that card because you didn't play the corrupted version. You played the regular version.
Yes.
And it also has to be in your hand to get corrupted, I assume.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. Oh god, no. If it was just like in your deck, can you play a card that costs more? And so, like you would play a 6-mana card, and just everything would be.
These are
turned on.
these are old god spellstones. If you were playing during Kobolds, these are old god spellstones. And I really like the idea of rewarding you for holding the resource and playing a more less efficient card to make these more efficient. And I also love the flexibility. It's kind of a choose one sort of thing that every class gets access to. I imagine some classes will be much better at this than others. But this mechanic seems like it has a lot of depth to it. It's not quite Spellburst in the amount of play it has to it, but I think there's a lot going on here.
Absolutely. Very, very excited to play with all of these corrupted cards. They feel quite powerful from what they've shown so far. One of them is summon 3 Silverhand recruits, and if it's corrupted, you summon 5 for 3 mana. So I am excited to get my Knife Juggler on. That seems great. Play a 4-drop on curve, and on 5 you just go Knife Juggler, fill your board with 1/1s. Seems alright.
I like how big you dream. I like that.
Just let me have this.
No, you can have this. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Silverhand recruits are definitely going to get there.
Well, I mean, they might print more Silverhand support. It could happen.
It could.
We'll see.
Also, in the art for that
also,
card,
this just
George
goes
and Carl.
into Odd Paladin, right?
And Wild, yes.
In Wild, it's probably pretty dang good in Odd Paladin.
Yeah, it seems. Well, you don't play a more expensive
Don't play
card than 3 all
4s.
that often. Yeah, you would have to play
so
5s.
It wouldn't really get upgraded.
Yeah, and that card has a lot of really efficient minion generation.
Yeah.
Probably still would play make 3 mana, make 3 1/1s without the. I mean, you already play like
Maybe.
Muster's better than
it
this.
makes the minion. Well, yeah, but you would play 4 musters in that.
We kind of do. One of
right?
them's called Tour Guide. That card, by the way, that card is stupid in Odd Paladin if you haven't played with it. 1 mana, make 3 1/1s. Kind of insane. But yeah, I can see this. Also, the real question is, how does Corridor Creeper or similar cards work with this? Does it look at base cost or paid cost? That's a very important question, and we don't know yet.
I believe it would be paid cost.
I would guess paid cost, but I've been wrong before.
Oh man, did you remember that Shaman still has that rush minion that gets discounted?
Mogu
No?
Flesh Shaper is
Okay.
legal in standard,
Mogu
yes.
Flesh Shaper? Yeah. Huh. Fancy that.
What are we going to do with
Cost
that?
9.
Yeah, that's
9
a lot.
is a lot.
9 is a lot.
That's-
Remember, remember how much 9 is? I talked about it a lot only like an expansion ago.
You've been very clear on the number 9. It was also the in the title of our last episode, Solarian 9. Yeah. Well,
But besides these cards,
Yeah.
we have
I actually appreciated that title.
I'm glad you liked it.
one card that people can play. I believe if you get the pre-purchase, or is it just everyone? No, just everyone. Login reward.
The giveaway is for everybody. There is a golden version if you do the pre-order.
That's what it is. So the login reward is Silas Darkmoon, who is the benefactor of the Darkmoon Faire. And he is a 7-mana 4/4 with the battle cry, choose a direction to rotate all minions. This is a minion carousel. If you remember any of the tavern brawls that have had this effect, actually there's one right now. It'll work like that. So if you play something on the far right of your board and then play Silas, you will give it to your opponent. Things that come to
Well,
mind.
you get to choose with Silas.
Yeah, you can place Silas wherever you want. Yeah, but as
Well, you
long
choose which
choose the direction.
it goes.
Yeah, you can choose
So you
this
choose-
way or that way.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
other carousel things you did not get to choose the direction. It always rotated counterclockwise, right?
It rotated one of the ways, and now you get to do both of the ways, or you get to choose which way. Yeah.
You get to choose which way.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of the instances you're going to be doing this, well, maybe not, but the ones that you're going to be building around, the direction doesn't matter because you're going to choose to give them a particular minion, and that could be Doomsayer to blow up the board for 9 mana, or it could be
Soulbound
Ashtongue.
Ash Tongue.
Soulbound Ash Tongue. 1 mana 1/4. When this takes damage, you take that much damage. So, of course, immediately people said, "Hey, what if in Warrior we play Soulbound Ash Tongue, play Silas Darkmoon, and then Shield Slam it, which is 9 mana, kill your opponent if your armor is greater than their life total." So that is something I'm going to be experimenting with.
Yeah, by the way,
2.
in Wild, the cards in question cost 7, 1, and 1, which are all odd numbers. So if you're keeping track at home, you press Tank Up, and then you Shield Slam and Rank Up. So, yeah. I don't think that's going to be meta-defining, but I think it's going to be funny.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the build I've got in standard is just a lot of card draw, a lot of skipper, armor smith, copy armor smith with mercenary. That's sort of your armor generation, battle rage for draw, cutting class and weapons for draw. We'll see how it works, but that's what I'm experimenting with. This is not going to be legal in the Masters Tour because, in keeping with the tradition of transfer student, cards that they put out early, right before Masters Tour, they are not allowing to be legal, which people really appreciate because there would be actually no time to test. So if you're not building your deck around it and you just like have it in there, you can, through choosing the direction, just pick something that you want to steal or give the opponent something bad. Interesting card. I don't expect it to see a ton of play except for decks that can somehow abuse it through some kind of combo. Few things to just wrap this up. Players who pre-purchase the Madness at the Darkmoon Faire bundle will also receive early access to the Hearthstone Duels game mode, like we talked about. You can do that. Early access is from 22nd to November 11th. There's a small bundle for $40, which involves 45 MDF card packs, 1 MDF Legendary, non-golden, the N'Zoth card back, and early access. And then the upgraded bundle at twice as much, $80. These are all for US. 80 Madness of the Darkmoon Faire packs, 5 golden MDF packs, 1 random golden MDF Legendary, the playable N'Zoth Warlock Hero, which I believe you get to play with right away, as with past ones.
That's great.
The N'Zoth card back, Battlegrounds perks, and then early access to the new game mode.
And there's no Tavern Pass, because the Tavern Pass is no more. It's something new. Because, by the way, 1 hour and 36 minutes into the Raw recording...
Oh, wait.
There's more.
We do have one last thing.
One last
35 card mini set.
Oh, yeah. By the way, the one... Right. I'm going to edit this. We have one more thing, this giant, amazing, redefining announcement of what constructed sets are. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Big announcement that we're tacking on at the end. I mean, I don't think we have to talk about it too much, but it is huge.
We should talk about this.
Okay, a little bit. 35 card mini set to every expansion going forward. No, this is not an adventure. This is just 35 additional cards that they're going to add midway through the expansion as a way to, shake things up every now and again, which is something that I feel like I have asked for in the past, just like something to shake things up. We've been getting that a little bit with the nerfs that have been nudges here and there. But yeah, this, not just for this set, just going forward, we effectively have 170 card sets with a delay on 35 of those cards. And you can get a collectible coin, which in this case has the Old God's Eye on it. If you own 135 cards from the expansion, which normally would be the whole thing, but once that second part of 35 cards comes out, it'll be a lot easier to unlock that coin because fewer legendaries you'll have to get with the 35 coming out.
This is crazy. I'm glad it's not an adventure because we don't have to do our card chores. These are just the 35 extra cards are going in the same packs that we buy on day one. So we're now incentivized to buy more packs midway through the expansion, which has not happened before, I don't think. Now,
But they won't be in day one.
They're basically, when they had that big mid-set balance change that they've done for the past year or so, instead of that, they're just going to add 35 cards to the set. Now, if I were a gambling man, I would gamble on a mid-season bundle where there were some special packs that only had the new cards. And I'm sure there will be ways to get some of these new cards, but I usually buy packs 3 days a year. They're the release days, because I save the gold for the entire time, and I just don't buy packs otherwise. And this is going to chew into some gold reserves to get some packs in the middle. Now, duplicate protection helps a lot here, because when they add cards to packs, this announcement makes duplicate protection make a lot of sense. Looking back, it's not just making the game more accessible. If you own all the commons and rares and epics, when you open a pack, the commons and rares you're going to get are guaranteed going to be the ones you didn't have. It's going to be pretty easy to collect those right away. The legendaries are a little bit tougher, but they're also immediately craftable cards. They're not paywalled behind an adventure, which I love, and guaranteeing that there's a meta shakeup without a need for balance changes in a perfectly healthy meta is sweet, because 4 months is just too long.
Yeah, it seems like they've addressed a lot of the issues, honestly. Because when I first saw that they're adding 35 cards, I was like, oh, but then I have to like wait to open packs, kind of, maybe sometimes. But if there's duplicate protection, then you might as well just get more packs, because you'll probably have most of the commons and uncommons. And so I'm guessing with the 35 card breakdown, my guess would be 3 cards for each class and 5 neutral cards would probably be the most likely addition. But yeah, with duplicate protection, this sounds a lot more. It's a lot more palpable. No, palatable.
That's the one.
Yes.
That's the one. So, yeah, it's I think it's actually probably okay. We'll see how it gets implemented. We'll see what cards they add, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, I'm excited. Honestly, they asked that question, if Hearthstone was your main game, what would make you come back? I feel like this is one of those things, right? Just don't let the hype die. Ever. Yeah. if the hype keeps rolling, like, oh, my hype was dying down and now I've got 35 new cards. I like it's just going to be hard to play other things.
Yeah, there's going to be so much to do all the time.
There's going to be so much to do all the time.
Yeah, because normally 2 or 3 months in, it'd be like, let's try Battlegrounds when they release the new stuff. Let's try Duels. Let's play Wild. Nope, every format is going to be constantly like a snow globe, and it's exciting and fresh. But then I have to make decisions about how to spend my time, and then I'm just going to make the decision of not making a decision and just not sleep very much. And I'm worried, Blizzard, that my health can't take this. It's a good problem to have. It'll be fine. I'll drink more coffee.
I gotta get my order of mate in so I can keep up.
Yes. Speaking of keeping up, by the way, we've got a third section of the news. But it's not a big deal. We're just revamping Hearthstone's economy. So, Boticus, let's go!
All right. So our last section here what was surprising to me was actually the thing I was most excited, or I ended up being the most excited about out of all the announcements. So we're going to have achievements in Hearthstone now. There's going to be an achievement system. They're completely reworking the quest system and how you earn rewards in Hearthstone. So all of this is going live on November 12th. Basically, we'll have a system that tracks your in-game accomplishments, a central reward track for all earnable rewards outside of Standard and Wild, a quest revamp, and an updated profile page with player info, ranks, and stats.
Okay, hold on. I was on the Angry Chicken earlier today, and this got glossed over. Can the 3 of us agree this is the best thing? Can we agree that profile is awesome?
Yes.
Okay. Like,
absolutely.
I'm gonna reference the other game I've been playing a lot of. I'm gonna reference Hades. You need a victory screen, and the profile is the victory screen. It's the screenshotable thing. It's the your month in Hearthstone. It's the brag picture of the hey y'all watch this. And oh man, it's so nice. You don't have to go make an empty priest deck to check your priest wins, because why would I have a priest deck built? You don't have to worry, like, all your ranks are in one place, and all your wins and the number of cards you own from each set is all in one place. I recognize this is likely only exciting for super tenured players that maybe overinvest time in Hearthstone. I don't care. This is awesome. This is fantastic.
So the achievements will include everything from your related to classes that you play, collection, ranked milestones, solo adventure, tavern brawls, duels, and battlegrounds, and even more. So all aspects of in the Hearthstone client are going to have achievements related to them. Every expansion, there's going to be new achievements added. The future game mode is going to have achievements tied to it, and every major update will have achievements tied to this. Just this is pretty big. Yeah, like Kat said, victory screens. In addition to this, we also have instead of the current quest system where you do daily quests and get gold, now you're going to have an experience. It's basically all getting converted to experience. So they're not taking away anybody's gold. Everybody gets to keep the gold that you have, and you still get to spend the gold as usual. But the way you earn gold is going to completely change. So every expansion, there's going to be 50 levels with which to earn rewards. You will earn experience through completing quests, earning select achievements, and just by playing in more game modes. So you get experience now for playing battlegrounds and arena and duels and
tavern brawl.
Yeah,
solo content.
Instead of having to do a specific thing, you're just going to get experience for being in client and pressing the play button. Doesn't matter which play button you press. You'll earn gold, card packs, cosmetics, and you get more rewards for the amount of time you're putting in, which is awesome. There's going to be a free reward track for free-to-play players that'll be found in your journal. And if you complete all 50 levels of the reward track, you will earn one of the 10 all-new hero skins, which I don't know why that got me really excited. Because I believe, I don't know if it's these hero skins, but these are those the upgradable ones?
The upgradable ones are only, so the cosmetics, the upgradable ones, those are specific per set, and those are only in the paid track.
Okay.
The paid track is almost entirely cosmetics, except for a golden Silas Darkmoon, and an experience boost. You move a little faster. And the reason for that, of course, is you can choose to spend your time or your money. If you're the sort of person that you're free to play, you cap gold every day, you don't need that experience boost. You really don't. But if you're working and spending limited time on Hearthstone, you'd rather spend the $20, you move a little faster so you don't feel compelled to play to get your money's worth. They just nudge you through the system a little faster. But otherwise, all of the packs, all of the rewards is all in the free track. You do not need to pay a dime. You get a reward every level in the free track. The paid is only every 5, and the paid is all cosmetic stuff. They're cool cosmetics, like these level-upable hero skins, and one of my favorite things about the announcement. Are we talking about it? The coins?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the coins.
Custom coins.
Oh, yeah.
So excited.
Yeah,
Kibler had a great line where he was talking about the coins, and he said, "I can't wait to coin Concede in style." And I know it wasn't a tribute to us, but damn, I felt amazing.
What do you mean? Of course it was a tribute to us. There's no other interpretation for that. It had to be. Thank you, Kibler. We appreciate you listening to the show, which you definitely do, which is why you said what you said. When we get the email from Kibler, we'll read it out to all of you.
And yeah, so I mean, rewards from each of these, from each time you level up, are going to include packs from standard sets, tavern tickets that grant access to arena or duels, epic and legendary cards, gold, and more. And even if you are one of the people that plays this game a whole lot and you get to level 50, you will also still get rewards after hitting level 50. Basically, every level you get after level 50 gets you 150 gold still. Basically, there's the paid reward track, which Hat was talking about, where you get mostly cosmetic rewards. That's unlocked by purchasing the Madness at the Darkmoon Tavern Pass at any point during the expansion. Basically gets you all items up to your current reward track level, the Golden Silas Darkmoon card, and a 10% experience boost for the duration of the expansion. The XP boost will increase to 15% at level 10, 20% at level 35. Basically, we have, as Hat said, a couple alternate skins right now. There's an alternate warrior hero, 3 Jaina skins, and 3 Thrall hero skins, which look awesome. And one of Hearthstone's first ever collectible coins. So you'll be able to change out, it's in your collection manager, and you'll be able to choose which coin you want to use. Yeah, so like I said, quest revamp. Quests are going to give you experience now instead of coins, and you also get daily quests as well as weekly quests. So you get punished less for not completing your quest every day. You still have stuff you can work for. You can still re-roll the weekly quest. That's something that you can do. And you get 3 at the start of every week, refreshing Monday at 12 Pacific.
Another thing, they put legendary quests on a separate tier. So you won't do what my foolish self did earlier, which was I had full quests because I'd mostly been playing Hades, and I logged in to play Duels, and there's a legend, and once you get the bundle, you'll get the quests to play Duels for early access. So I got the bundle and then realized that I just tossed 60 gold away because I had full quests and one of them got replaced by a legendary quest. So that won't happen anymore because legendary quests are going to be their own thing. So when you get one, it won't replace any quests that you have.
So, this is the thing about these announcements. We're very tenured players here. We've been playing Hearthstone for a long time. New set. Yeah, that's exciting. But there's ups and downs, right? New mode. It's good. We like it. Not necessarily for everyone, but it's we all enjoy it. It's not Battlegrounds, but it doesn't have to be. These little quality of life changes, there's not really a downside here. It's just nicer. It's just better. Now, we don't know the experience numbers for the quests and for the rewards. They're very clearly not disclosed, and in the article on the website, it says these numbers are not final. But given that they very clearly in the interview about systems said, Frodan staged the question, so is Blizzard coming to take away our gold? That was literally asked because, shout out to Reddit, we see you. They were very clear, you're not going to end up with less gold. They're probably nudging the numbers to make sure that nobody has anything to complain about. But just the profile is a really nice thing for information we had to cobble together, and people stopped tweeting about asking about the year, month, and Hearthstone things. And just having to do a quest to make sure you don't get a quest taken away when they try and give you something, it's just nicer. It's just better. Cosmetic coins are genius. I can't wait to be able to buy new emotes. I want to be able to buy new emotes because that's the next cosmetic that you should be able to purchase.
Yeah, I don't know why I feel like I'm not really a huge cosmetic person, but when I heard about the 3 skins that you get to level up, you level them up and they get better, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Out of everything that was announced today, that got me to want to play more Hearthstone because I was like, I can get this thing and then I can level it up and it can get cooler.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Because human beings are fascinating creatures. Yeah. But I think I agree with you, actually. I liked Duels when I played it. this is just, it's making the core experience nicer. It's just like going from, this is the heated steering wheel. I had to make a work trip to Buffalo a while ago, and it was cold because it was Buffalo. And so, but I got a rental car, and I had never been in a car with a heated steering wheel. And I used, like, in the past, I would turn the car on and wait, and I would wear gloves, and the steering wheel was freezing. And then, like, I used a car with a heated steering wheel. I was like, this is just really pleasant. It's just really nice. And I didn't need it. It wasn't necessary. It didn't change the car going to the place I wanted to go. But it was just, it made the experience more comfortable and luxurious. I'm glad that they're adding this kind of stuff because it doesn't have to matter, but it really does. And it shows that Blizzard is listening to what the tenured players want. That profile screen shouldn't matter as much as it does. This coin shouldn't matter as much as it does, but like, we just want the client to be a little nicer and to have more information and to brag with our friends a little better and to show off our coins and heroes and Golden Silas, Darkmoon, whatever. This is great. I'm a big fan.
I don't know. I feel like you just kind of want to feel. I almost want to feel unique. You know?
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to be a little different than somebody else, even if I'm playing the same deck or whatever. Like maybe there's just not enough hero skins that I feel like I can customize, or I get the cool coin that I'm using a different coin than most people. And everybody's going to be using the same coin for a while until we get a bunch of them. But just like having your kind of stamp on the way you play Hearthstone, I think matters to a lot of people, regardless if you net deck the same deck that everybody else is playing. You just want your experience to feel different than other people. And I think that this goes a long way to making your Hearthstone experience feel unique and feel different and feel like you want to log into, because there's that one specific thing that maybe not everybody goes for, but you're going for it, and it gives you satisfaction.
To your point, if you're at legend, if you're at a high legend rank, and you see a classic card back, what's your immediate reaction? The basic starting card back.
They're a shark.
Yeah, right? Okay. So like
actually I don't really pay attention, but if I was paying attention, I would think that they're trying to shark me.
Do you agree, Adelice? Do you have that same reaction?
Oh yeah, I'm like, okay, this person's been playing since beta, right?
That's the sneaky good card back.
No, the really good card back is the Hakar card back, because everybody got automatically switched to it.
Oh, you know they didn't bother changing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So think about the messages being sent with just the card back, and think about what all of these fascinating little things will do. You can have a very specific customization to just send a message. Oh yeah. That was very insightful. I like that.
And I think something that is great to see is just there's so many games that are making all their money from cosmetics. League of Legends, Fortnite, but hundreds of others, I'm sure. And it always felt like there were those of us that we had that itch. We wanted to be able to get more cosmetics in Hearthstone, but it was just so limited what we could do, even if we wanted those more things. And I think this way of implementing it is so great, because there's no loot boxes for the cosmetics. There's no, trying to get the one that you want. It's just you get the Tavern Pass and you get more cosmetics. And it's nice. You can upgrade what you want to upgrade. You get to pick which of the 10 that you want to get, right? So you can have that favorite hero that you make sure to get their hero skin first. It's so brilliant for me. And I had, when it came to this kind of thing, when we first heard that they would be doing a battle pass, I had complete faith that it would be good. I don't have a ton of imagination when it comes to these things, and I didn't know what it would look like for Hearthstone, but I've enjoyed it in Magic, and I'm loving all of this achievements. I feel like everyone loves, you've got your Steam games that have their random amount of achievements. It's just a fun little, mini game within the game. So I feel very positively just about all this stuff. I would say my favorite bit is that they finally did it. We have a female warrior skin. It's been a long time coming. I low-key misinterest some of the time. So I like to have all female skins for my decks. And Warrior was the one where I just was using Deathwing because, I don't know, it was better than Gramash. And being able to switch it to Anhilda is very, very satisfying.
Garrosh, not Gramash. I wish we could have a Grom here.
Garrosh. Yeah, I get them swapped.
Yeah, I'm glad they have this. This is just the nice stuff. It's just fun. I can't wait to do some achievements. And some of the achievements, they did preview some of the achievements. Win a game by summoning no more than 1 minion. The entire game. Not play, summon.
One mage, easy.
Yeah. No.
Oh, wait, summon.
Summon.
Oh.
So you can do 1 Apexis Blast, but no deep freezes.
Man,
yeah.
How do you even do that?
What? So you have to achieve it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an achievement. I don't know. This is for you're the mad scientist in this show. I just net deck.
Why did you tell me this hat? This is all I'm going to be doing tonight. Is figuring out how to do this.
Okay.
Easy. Turn 2, coin, self-sharpening sword, prep. Dang it. What's the? Oh my god. Why don't I
Deadly
know the
poison?
name? Deadly poison. Prep deadly poison. Prep deadly poison. Start going.
Yeah.
Just start.
So that's
there.
2 preps. Actually, you need to make sure you keep at least 1 in the mulligan. I think that's a good idea.
Now you just draw them naturally.
Hmm.
Oh, here you go. Just only Edwin.
Oh, you could do a lot worse, but you can't shadow stab.
Sometimes that's all you need. That wouldn't be that. Maybe that's easier than we think it is.
Yeah. I mean, if your opponent concedes to Edwin on 2, yeah.
I've definitely won games where I played a 8/8 Edwin and my opponent conceded.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to actually finish the game, because otherwise that achievement's pretty. Like sometimes your opponent just like concedes coin concedes, and then. Right.
I would assume there is some kind of requirement of turns here, but I don't know specifically. But I think that is a cool mad scientist achievement. So I assume there's some kind of failsafe that if you win because your opponent left the game on turn 1, it probably doesn't take that off. Maybe it does. I don't know. There's also summon 1,000 Murlocs, which it takes a lot longer. There's win a game in Battlegrounds as Ragnaros, encounter another player with the Mark of Hakar card back, collect all Scholomance Demon Hunter cards. These are all over the place. It's going to take a while to do them all.
Yeah, I hope that there's not too many. I hope that not all of the like cosmetic things are hidden behind like just collection based. I know it sounds like a lot of them are going to be, but I hope there's other ways to get like cosmetics other than just get every card in every set and then you get the cosmetics.
I would assume there's some variety here, because one of the requirements for the cosmetic coin is collect 135 Madison Darkmoon Faire cards. That requirement doesn't change when they come out with the mini set, so you don't need to collect the whole set. You just need to collect 135 of the 170. To get it at first, you need every single card. But there's also other requirements, like when you complete all 50 levels of the reward track with the Tavern Pass, you also get a coin.
I hope Vaximus has something going where there's board interaction achievements, like get 3 boots.
Oh, like when you, when you the click stuff, that would be awesome.
Farm for 3 boots.
Yeah, or like play the song in the feet. Like you have to play the feet song.
Yeah.
I always forget how to do that.
It's I don't know.
You can look it up on YouTube. It's fine.
Yeah. There's a joke here about toes, but I'm gonna miss it.
I think we're all excited about the announcements today. Overall excited. That was a lot of news.
2 hours of just news. I'm glad that we're sticking with this format of do a 2-hour show instead of do the format of the show if we have 2 hours of stuff. I think this is better. I think it's just, this is what matters. By the way, super short tournament section. Masters Tour Madrid is in 12 hours after this recording. Have fun if you want to watch it. It's over on youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports. Vicious Syndicate has a Data Reaper report up. It changed today because Mage Nurse. We're going to do a Vicious Syndicate Data Reaper podcast on Tuesday, and there will be a report as well after that. Yeah, Hearthstone stuff. And that's all the time we have for the show today. So we have many folks to like to thank. Check out our thanks section on the website at Concede.com. You can find our contact info, show notes, and our Patreon information. You can monetarily support our show at patreon.com/Concede. Join us every week live by following us on Twitch at twitch.coinconcede.com. Join our community chats in our Discord at discord.coinconcede.com. Right into our email at coinconcede@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at coinconcede. Like, share, and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/coinconcede. Like some CC swag, head over to our shop, shop.coinconcede.com. Big thanks to our producers, Number Theory, Tenor Wizard, Tony, Estoshi, K, Car, Hoop, Pug, Ugly, and Proby1. Whew. Coin Concedes, Bodicus, go. You got a good one.
Okay, so I don't know who's in charge of the music for Hearthstone, but holy cow, just every time I listen to like a new expansion, the genre is just completely different, and the musicality is just amazing. Like every time, whoever is doing the music for Hearthstone does an amazing job, so I wanted to coin concede to them. If I had more time, I would have looked up who does it most often. But yeah, whoever is in charge of, I'm sure it's like a ton of people, but it's always amazing. The expansion music for this was incredible, and yeah, just really enjoy listening to it every time they come out with a new one.
Advice.
Yeah, honestly, my coin concede here is just to Team 5 for clearly taking in a lot of feedback and coming up with some really great stuff for the future. And at least personally, I was very impressed with this COVID version of production. And also part of that is I was excited to see new faces that are not necessarily not new to the team, but faces I haven't seen on camera before. It was the first time I'd ever seen Pat Nagel, the namesake of Nat Pagel, and that was so cool to see this guy who's been there since the beginning. I think I kind of forgot that there are some people like that since so many have moved on to other projects. So it was nice to see someone who's been there since the start of the game.
Yeah, it's the man himself. And he's been a part of Blizzard for a very long time. Shout outs to Brian Kibler, of course, for shouting us out. Of course, that's what he did on stream. So thank you, Kibler. All the friends over at the new podcast, Hidden Aspects. I kind of killed the Hades channel and the Coin Concede Discord because we all moved over to the Hidden Aspects Discord. But at least we stopped keeping one of the most active channels in the Hearthstone Discord about a different game. Blizzlet, I was on that show. And then I was on a Q&A on that show about Hades. And then they were on my podcast to talk about Hades. So, Blizzlet, shout-outs to you. Also, Hadija was on, like, most of those shows. So, Hadija, you're great. You know you're great, but just saying it. And The Angry Chicken, I was on that show. Garrett had a death in the family. Garrett, sorry to hear about all that, and I hope everything gets better soon. But also, I was able to fill in the 11th hour and help him out, so I was able to talk about today's announcements for 4 hours today. It's been a day. Yeah, but I want to play some Duels, so I'm going to do that after this episode. And Washing the Wind, friend of the show for a long time, had a real nice conversation today. Shout out to him. And Thrallamond, friend of the show and coach and host of Squelch and all that. Also shout out to him. Had another really good conversation today. It's all good. People are good. Everything's great. So keep calm and let's get ready to duel. And if you see us on ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Cathoin concede.
Cathoin? I'm impressed. Not even mad, that's amazing.
Very well.
In case anyone was wondering, yes, that is the episode title. No, it is not up for debate. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you around next week.